All right, strap in, everyone. Let's dive deep into the 41st millennium. You know, the grim darkness of Warhammer 40K.
Sounds fun.
We're looking at how your Space Marine 2 playstyle could reveal, well, which chapter you'd fit right in with.
Oh, that's cool, yeah. Like, do you charge in or hang back?
Exactly. We've got some awesome analysis, some fun stuff that links those tactics to actual Space Marine chapters. Ready to find your inner Space Marine?
Absolutely, let's do it. I'm curious to see where this goes.
All right, let's start with the players who, well, they live for that close combat.
Oh, I know the type.
Yeah, the chainsword is always revving. They're always the first to charge, you know?
Yeah, those aggressive players.
Our source called them pure aggression. Kind of spot on, right?
Yeah, totally. And I
Yeah.
think that really leads us to the Blood Angels chapter, right?
It does.
Known for their close combat skills, but also, the Black Rage. It's kind of like a genetic flaw that pushes them into a frenzy.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting. Their strongest point, also their biggest struggle.
Yeah, that's the Blood Angels, all right. Saurus even pictures them yelling for Sanguinius right before, well, getting totally overwhelmed by enemies.
Oh, wow.
It's like dying. That's part of the plan, as long as they take down as many enemies as possible.
Makes you wonder about those players. The ones who love that aggressive style, Are they drawn to that struggle, that Blood Angels thing?
That's a great point. It's like they're living out the internal conflict of the Blood Angels through their playstyle.
Yeah, maybe.
But then you have players who are all about, well, strategy, thinking it through.
Total opposite.
They analyze the battlefield, they use cover, they actually communicate with their squad. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Pinging enemies and all that.
They actually use the in-game tools.
Yeah, totally different from those lone wolf Blood Angels.
Like they're playing a different game sometimes.
These are the Ultramarines, right? Disciplined, methodical, the type.
Always thinking a few steps ahead.
Exactly. Like the Ultramarines, their strength is in unity, they're coordinated. It's amazing how some players, even in this super action-packed game, are drawn to that.
Right.
It's like they know deep down in the 41st millennium, just brute force isn't enough.
Definitely not.
You need planning, coordination, maybe even a bit of that Ultramarines obsession with the Codex Astartes, right?
Huh. The source even jokes about them make the ones correcting lore on Reddit.
Oh, totally, but it shows what makes the Ultramarines so appealing to some people. They are order in this universe of, well, chaos.
That makes sense.
So we have our berserkers, we have our tacticians, but what about the players who, they just want to get up close? Really personal.
Let me guess.
They prioritize melee, even if it means, like, ignoring the objective, putting themselves in danger. Unfamiliar.
Oh, yeah. The Space Wolves are calling.
Yes.
These are the players who'd rather hunt down, that one enemy who got them before rather than, like, secure some strategic point.
It's personal.
Very personal. The source actually quotes them saying, "Nah, I'm hunting that one dude who killed me earlier." You can practically hear the growl.
I know. And they're not just, blindly charging either.
No way.
Weaving around, waltzing off ledges, using the environment.
They know what they're doing.
Our source said their movement like parkour, and that's perfect. It's that mix of aggression but also agility.
Very Space Wolves.
So Space Wolves, it's like part of their nature, right? From their home world, Fenris. It's harsh. It breeds warriors who are cunning and fierce.
Oh, and let's not forget their trash talk. The source gives a great example. Die well, coward. As they charge in, it's like Shakespeare, but with changed words.
All right, before we move on to some other chapters and their playstyles, I gotta ask, which one speaks to you so far? Are you the Blood Angel, the Ultramarine, or the Space Wolf?
It really is fascinating to think about. Even in a game, our choices tell us something, our preferences, instincts, all that. Take a second and think about how you play Space Marine 2. What does it say about your inner Space Marine?
It really is amazing, like, how much depth there is to playstyle, huh?
Yeah.
Never thought about all the ways to, like, be a Space Marine.
It just shows you how rich the Warhammer 40K universe is. Each chapter, they're not just, a different color.
Right.
They've got different philosophies, approaches to war, even different, takes on faith.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of faith, we can't forget the chapter that takes that to, like, the next level.
Oh, for sure.
The Black Templars, they're all about zeal.
Yes.
And they hate anything that isn't up close and personal with the enemy.
Yeah. Total disdain for anything else. I mean, they take the 40K thing, faith to the extreme. They see ranged combat as, like, cowardly.
Right.
Like relying on tech weakens your spirit or something.
Yeah, totally.
For them, faith is about proving your devotion by, just being amazing in combat.
Our source nailed it. Bolters. Never heard of them.
Perfect.
Give them a chainsword, point them at a heretic, and, well, the Emperor will take care of the rest.
And that commitment, it's not just for show. You know what I mean? It's really at the heart of the Black Templars.
Yeah.
They believe that true strength, it comes from within, from the spirit, fueled by faith. Pretty powerful. Even if it means, like, charging into situations where maybe some ranged fire would be a good idea.
So we've got our Blood Angels, our Ultramarines, our Space Wolves, and now our Black Templars. It's amazing how it's not just about winning, you know? It's
Yeah.
about expressing something, something deeper, something that clicks with people.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, are we drawn to certain chapters because of, how we play? Or does playing a certain way make us, like, more into that chapter's story?
It's like a loop, maybe.
Yeah.
Someone starts playing aggressive because they think it's, the best way to win. But then they get into that Blood Angel style, and then they find themselves, like, wanting to know more about Sanguinius, the Black Rage, all that.
And then, boom, they're not just playing. They're, like, in a role, living a philosophy.
It's kind of cool how games can do that.
Yeah.
Connect the mechanics to the story,
Yeah, and Warhammer 40K is perfect for that. So much lore, such big characters, big factions. You can't help but get pulled in.
So true. Okay, so we've explored some play styles, how they match up with, like, the big Warhammer chapters. But for you, what's the most, I guess, the coolest part of all this, connecting gameplay and the lore?
I think it's, that our choices, even in a game, tell us something about ourselves.
Yeah.
Like how we handle stuff, the strategies we lean towards, it reflects something inside us.
And Space Marine 2 taps into that, makes us think about, those things in a new way.
Yeah, it's not just entertainment. It could be a way to explore, to learn about yourself.
So wrapping up our dive into Warhammer 40K and Space Marine 2 playstyles, I want to leave everyone with a thought. Next time you pick up a controller, any controller, think about, your choices, instincts, your style.
What does it tell you?
Yeah, what does it say?
What connections can you find between, what you do in the game and who you are for real? Sometimes the coolest discoveries come from, the most unexpected places.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep those questions coming, and we'll keep those chainswords sharp. It's kind of crazy to think, something as simple as how we play a game can tell us so much. I mean, I never thought I'd be, like, analyzing my pay-D ratio to figure out where I fit in the 41st millennium.
But that's what makes it so fascinating, right? We find these reflections of ourselves in the weirdest places. It could be a book, a movie, even a video game. They hold up a mirror to, us, our personalities, values, even our fears, maybe.
And Space Marine 2, it does such a good job of that. It gives players the freedom to, express themselves through choices, tactics, and that connection to the chapters.
And that brings up a really interesting question. Do these connections, do they tell us more about, like, the game's design? Or about how appealing these archetypes are? Is it the game shaping us? Or are we just drawn to what already fits,
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, what comes first? Maybe someone starts playing all aggressive because it seems like the best way to win, right? But then as they get into that Blood Angel style, they start digging into the lore, the history. Suddenly they're reading about Sanguinius and the Black Rage and the game. It's like a door to understanding more of the whole Warhammer 40K thing.
It's like interactive storytelling, It's not just telling you about these chapters. You live them. You live their ideas through what you do in the game.
Yeah.
And that creates, like, a way deeper connection than just, reading or watching something.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Warhammer 40K and Space Marine 2, I want to leave you with this. Think about how you play, the choices you make, your style.
What does it say about you?
Yeah, what does it all mean?
What connections can you make between, like, your actions in the game and who you are, out here in the real world? Sometimes the coolest stuff, the things that make you think, come from where you least expect it.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into, the grim darkness of the far future.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and most importantly, keep those chainswords sharp. CAT8.